Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Jacobs. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for meeting with me today to discuss your estate and trust inquiries. I thought it would be better for us to discuss in person. So based on your email, I know that you guys had some questions around estate planning and planning for the future. Elizabeth, I know that you mentioned you had a disability that requires additional care and support, which makes it more crucial to have a plan in place. So today I'll go over these concerns as well as introduce the concept of having a trust and its importance. So when it comes to estate planning, it's important to understand what exactly it can do and cover. An estate plan is an ongoing process of planning and arranging for the management, tax efficient transfer, and distribution of your family's assets, covering both during your life and after death. Okay, and having one in place, it will reduce stress and worry, delays, and potential family conflict. As this picture shows, a complete estate plan includes having a will and trust in place, ensuring that investments avoid the probate process, has a POA or power of attorney assigned to take care of all the legal and financial matters, and then also having a healthcare directive. The three main questions that it solves or answers is who gets what through the distribution of assets and who can act for you. And in Elizabeth's case, particularly if you become very ill or incapacitated with your disability, you can make that decision ahead of time, and how to reduce friction. So whether it be court delays, cost, or conflict. And there are core documents that are required for an estate plan, which include having a will, a financial POA, a healthcare directive, as mentioned, and a trust, which in some cases can be optional. So what exactly is a trust? So as it shows here, a trust is a legal arrangement used to manage, protect, and distribute assets to beneficiaries according to your wishes and instructions. Okay, you have three components of a trust. And the first component is the grantor or the trustor, which would be yourself, the individual or couple that establishes the trust and decides what assets go into the trust. Then you have the trustee, which is the individual or institution that manages the trust assets. And finally, you have the beneficiaries, which in your case would be your kids or your grandkids. And the beneficiaries are the people that benefit from the assets within the trust. Okay. Its purpose is to control asset distribution, avoid public probate process, protect your assets, and manage tax liabilities, which we will discuss in further detail. But if you're wondering what the main differences are between a will and a trust can be established and implemented while you're alive. It's also known as a living trust, while a will should be established prior to your death. It is only implemented after you pass away. A trust also offers greater control over assets and your estate, again, bypasses public probate, keeping the matters private and reducing legal fees. So that is also something to consider in your case, specifically as it relates to the healthcare, matters. Okay, if a trust was not set up and you passed away, then probatable assets that don't require beneficiary designations, any real estate or non-registered investments would be payable to the estate first, and then the court pays off any debts owing, then pays beneficiaries or heirs according to your will or according to the court and provincial legislation. This is a very lengthy and time-consuming process. This is also known as the probate process. and it could also be contested by various family members. So that's why it's important to have a will, but also not only to have a will, but ensure that if you have any probatable assets that require beneficiary designations, that those are updated so any assets flow directly to your beneficiaries. So how can a trust manage and protect your assets? As mentioned earlier, one, by controlling asset distribution, so ensuring that your beneficiaries receive assets over time rather than all at once. Avoids the public probate process, as I mentioned earlier as well, which can save time and money. Protecting your assets from creditors, lawsuits, potential divorce, or even misuse by your kids. And also to help manage tax liabilities, which can include minimizing your income to avoid estate taxes. And that's very beneficial as well. So when deciding what type of trust or the types of trust that there are two main or primary types of trust. There's inter vivos and then there's testamentary trust. And the main difference is that the inter vivos trust, which is the living trust, benefits the family. It's also often called family trust, and can be structured to have revocable or irrevocable heirs or beneficiaries. Revocable meaning changeable, or irrevocable meaning permanent. Then the testamentary trust, essentially created through the will, only takes effect after one or both would pass away. And what type of trust can best support Elizabeth? Well, it is my recommendation to establish both a testamentary through will and an inter vivos trust. Here's how they would work together, but also differ. So the living or inter vivos trust, created and funded through your lifetime or during your lifetime. So this would take effect immediately, which would allow for management of assets if you became incapacitated. We don't know what the future holds, but like if you were to come incapacitated tomorrow, a year from now, you would have this in place. It also avoids probate upon death, and this would best support Elizabeth's long-term care planning needs. Testamentary trust would best support the kids until they turn 18 because they are still minors. And as mentioned, if you die without a will, then the assets that you guys have in place would flow directly to your estate, and it would be considered to have died intestate, where the court and provincial legislation determines the distribution of your assets. So it's not recommended that you don't have a will. I recommend that you create one, as well as potentially look at establishing a trust. And here we can see a complete estate plan includes life insurance, disability or long-term care, a will and estate plan, power of attorney, and designated beneficiaries. I hope I've addressed your questions and would be more than happy to help you guys set up and establish your estate plan for your family's future. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to let us address them. Thanks so much.